folks, welcome back to the Dice Odyssey. I'm Kaz, and today we're going to be talking about a game about wizarding. Basically, you have a wizard king who has been assassinated by a black mage, or a black wizard in this case, and this guy's basically wanting to take over the world. And so you, as heirs of the Wizard King, which is the name of the game, are trying to build up your strength, build up your power so that you can actually have enough power as a group to take on the Black Wizard and destroy him and actually take your rightful place as the Wizard King. It's an interesting concept. You're a group of guys, or a group of wizards, who basically have to, in a sense, semi-cooperate, but in the end there can be only one. Highlander, right? But in this game, you're basically, it kind of gave me the vibe of kind of like being like Gandalf, right? When he first meets Saruman, the white wizard. Gandalf is, you know, a lesser powered wizard. He's a gray wizard. And you see the results. Saruman whoops him up and down a little bit. But then, in this game, you're trying to build up your power to be able to take on that black wizard and then tear him limb from limb.
You have no power here, Gandalf the Grey.
Finish him! Get over here! Flawless victory.
Now, this game is for 2 to 4 players, roughly about a 20 to 30 minute game depending on player count. It's from a designer named Jonathan Politis, and it's from Closet Full of Games. Anyway, I'm going to get it over to the table, show you how it plays, and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts. I'm going to go ahead and give you kind of a brief overview on how to play the game. Not going to hit every rule, and remember, all this is going to be pre-production as it is. So here we go. First thing, I want to show you this deck of cards. Now, these aren't all of them, but this gives you an idea of the different kinds of spells you can get. You got, for example, the Grow spell. You've got Webs. You've got Prior, which is basically like back in, going back in time. Lore. You've got Burn, which is pretty much an attack card, and then you've got Heal, and you can see that it's pretty much similar artwork between all of them, but very beautiful artwork. Then you've also got these different kinds of legendary spells. They're like the higher powered version of each one of those spells. And so if you look, the artwork is different as well, which is really cool. I really think that artwork's amazing. So now, when it comes to setup, you get a player board or card, you get a white token, and the 6 different color tokens that represent the different kinds of spells you can learn, okay? You're also going to receive 1 card for chaining. That's going to be the beginning of your chain, okay? And then you're also going to receive however much of a hand that you're supposed to get according to player count. Now, one thing in particular you're going to notice is that your player board basically lists everything you're going to do in order, all the different actions, what the steps are, everything. And it also lists the different kinds of spells that you can learn when it comes to the tokens. We'll get into that in just a moment. The other part of setup is you're going to put the black wizard in the middle of the table, and you're going to put the token, his black token, right there on the number 1. You're also going to give him his chaining card to start as well. Now, the ultimate goal of the game is to try to be the first person to get your victory points up to whatever the level is according to player count. And remember, you're all semi-cooperating to defeat the Black Wizard, but there's still going to be one winner. So now, on your turn, there are several different things you can do. You can activate, learn, or use, okay? Now, to activate means you would take this card and do whatever it says at the bottom. For example, it says, look at the top 3 cards of the discard pile, maintaining their order. Now, if you see that number 3 up there, that's going to pertain to how powerful your spell is at the bottom. So I could go ahead and activate, do that, take the top 3 cards and do whatever it says, right? And then that card is now burned, it goes in discard, okay? Or I can go and I can learn this spell, not the specific one here, but the card, the actual color itself. So for example, I can go, okay, I'm going to learn. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to burn this card, but now I also get to take the color of that card, and now it is considered a spell that I have learned. Now here's the kicker. This comes into use, so later on, next time it comes up on my turn, I can now use this token instead of taking a card out of my hand and burning it, and I could have used this card for a chain to get more points and such. I can now go, oh, I've got a spell power of 1 for that. I'm going to use that very specific spell and do whatever it says on this card according to card number here. So it's a really cool thing, and you never lose this token, right? Now the next step after activate, learn, or use is going to be chaining like numbers or colors. Now, for example, you have a red 3 here. Well, now you have to be able to match that number 3 or that actual color. So, for example, I have an orange 3. Well, I can go ahead and place that because the 3s match up. But now if you also look, I can now, if I want to continue chaining, I can actually go ahead and add that to my chain because it matches not the number, but I match the color. Whenever you actually want to complete a chain, you have to complete it according to what the next level up says you need. So for example, you're at level 1, you need a 2-card chain. But let's say you're at level 2, you now need a 3-card chain, and so on and so forth until you win. Okay, so that's basically how chains are scored. Now the next step is once you've actually gone and discarded your completed chains and cashed them in, you now draw 2 cards from the deck, and that goes into your hand. Now at the end of every player's turn, the black wizard now gains another chain card. And then you also deal to any chains that are actually empty at the table as well. But there are some cards in the game that can actually flip him and make it to where he can't really do much, okay? And when the deck is actually shuffled, you get to flip this card back over and he comes back to full power. And that's pretty much how the game is played. I mean, you're going to continue going round after round after round, trying to get up this victory point tracker on your own player board. First person to do that is the winner. I really, really enjoyed this game. I think that when I first went into this game, I actually kind of thought I would really like it because I like the theme. I like the idea of being, in a sense, I don't think he was going for this concept, maybe the designer, but in the end, it made me feel this way, the theme. I kind of felt like I was almost like in a wizarding school and I was learning spells. I was learning to upgrade my powers, so to speak, so that I could go ahead and take on this evil dude who's taking out my headmaster. I know some of y'all are probably going to be thinking like Harry Potter or something like that, but yeah, it kind of gave me that vibe a little bit, right? I like the, let me go into production quality. First off, this is all pre-production, so everything from card art, which I think is close to finalized or probably there, to the tokens, which, I'm sorry, these tokens, they're amazing. I love the tokens. I like the little bits in the game. It just adds a little extra flavor to the game for me. To the player boards, all of that is all pre-production. So anything, including rules, is subject to change. Now let me go ahead and get let me start with the cons actually before I go into any of that. There are a couple of cons that I've noticed in the game just to get them out of the way, because I do have quite a few pros. The one thing was, and again, because it's pre-production, it's a toughie, the rules, the rules were pretty well laid out, but in the rule book, there were some variations and maybe some things that weren't fully explained. We played, several times, and we were sitting there going, okay, we're going to use common sense on this. We're thinking that this rule means this, but it's the way it's worded, it could mean this. So yeah, we had a few things where we were like, I'm not sure. We're going to go with what we think might be right. And in the end, we didn't end up breaking the game. I think we got it down pretty well. But again, like I said, these are being refined as we speak. So I don't know what the final set of rules are going to be. So yeah, all these things should be taken care of during the actual Kickstarter. So that was a little bit of a con. So, some dodgy rules that we were trying to figure out. But in the end, the game itself, from the basics up, is a very well finely tuned game. After multiple plays, the first time we played it was, yeah, we were trying to figure all that out. But after multiple plays, I can honestly say I like the way that the card mechanics work with the way that the powers work and so on and so forth. So going into the production, I really like the card artwork. Now, I kind of wish there had been a little bit more variation with the wizards there. A lot of them are pretty much the same style of card artwork unless you get into the legendary spells, which I'm glad they changed that because that should be different, to show that it is a more powerful spell. And I like the idea of that. Now, consider the fact this is a set collection game. I really, really enjoyed the fact that, when you're making your chains, that was the one thing that I really liked. Because in set collection, like games like Rummy, or let's think Ticket to Ride, or anything like that, where you're trying to gain cards, you know, like color cards and same color cards and things like that. I like the idea that you've got a number up there, and not only do you have a number, that number corresponds to how powerful your actual spell card is. You know, the writing at the bottom. So if you choose to activate this card and use it, the number is going to signify how powerful that spell is going to be, for anywhere from 1 to 7, I think. I can't remember the top number, but I also like the fact that in the chains, that number matters. So for example, let's say I have a green 2 here, okay, and I want to chain cards together, and I'll go over all this in the overview anyway, but just give you a quick example. I like the idea that at the end of each side of the chain of cards, I could put a green card, even if it had like a green 5. Or it could be a red 2, right? I like the idea that you get several options of play, and you're not hampered by just your normal card draw. Now, there are some turns where you're going to get things you don't like, but I like the idea also that you have several things that you can do. Do I want to activate this card, or do I want to basically burn it and learn the spell? That was another thing. I really, really love the idea that on your player board, you're able to learn spells, and it corresponds to how powerful you are. Like if you want to learn the burn spell, where you can actually tear up somebody else's chains and discard their cards, and especially the Black Wizard, you can do that. And see, the cool thing is it's almost like an engine builder. As you continue to learn those spells, you're able to sit there and go, okay, I've got that spell in reserve. I can use that and never lose that token. Again, it's like you're upgrading yourself. You're becoming more powerful. And then at the same time, because you have all these little tokens of spells that you've learned, right? And I think it'd be best to do that at the beginning. You're able to save cards you otherwise would have used to use those spells. Well, you've got the tokens now. You don't have to burn those cards. You can now use those cards for your chains, and it helps you to get to the end quicker, get to that victory point count quicker. First thing though, the Black Wizard. If this guy was not in the game, right? Because, you know, he breaks the rules. I like the idea of him being able to break the rules, because he doesn't have to follow the same rules of chaining as you do, which kind of thematically works if you think about it, because he's so powerful, he can do whatever he wants, and we're basically apprentices, right? And so we're trying to figure this out. This guy's just breaking the rules left and right. But I like the idea that he's in the game, he's an ever constant threat, and after everybody's turn, he continually chains, right? Or gains more to his chain. And boy, the first game we played, he whooped us, because we really didn't realize how fast this was going to go, because he reached that victory point count so fast. Because, you know, on everybody's turn, he gets a chain or a card that added to his chain. And so that's another really cool element that I really like that, because, for example, this game could be a decent game. It'd be fun, you know, it's enjoyable. But with that, it just shoots it into an upper echelon for me in terms of replayability, fun factor, and the social interactivity at the table, which I alluded to a minute ago. I love the fact that we're sitting here and we were we were busting each other's chops. Like, okay, not only is my friend a threat to me because he's got to be an ultimate winner, you know, there's got to be one ultimate winner out of the rest of us, but at the same time, he might have a card that can stop that Black Wizard from continuing to gain his chains, like getting his card flipped over with those web cards, which I really like. I love that, because now we have to semi-cooperate. We have to work together. And at the same time, you're also paying attention not only to him, but to everybody at the table. So there's never a dull moment. You know what I mean? There's not really any huge amount of downtime, because you have to pay attention to what everybody else is doing. You're constantly discussing things. You're constantly figuring out the best strategy to not only stop him, but maybe to stop one of your friends who's gaining a lot of power at the table, right? And trying to figure out who is going to attack the Black Mage or the Black Wizard. So yeah, I love this game. I really think that you jump on board with this, you're going to find a game that you're going to keep pulling out over and over and over again. It's got some great replayability, because again, the amount of spells helps with that variation in the game. You never really get bored with it. I just don't think you will, personally. And I have to say, I'm very impressed with the amount of, you can tell this is a labor of love. You really can. The amount of ingenuity that was put into this, because it's a very simple game, but it's got a lot of complexity in the amount of choices you have. And that's a very good thing, because now I don't feel like it's just, What card should I play? Well, it's obviously this card. What other thing should I? Oh, it's obviously this. No, you have to go, okay, what's the best plan of attack with all of us involved? You're really actually trying to involve everybody in your own decision making. And that's actually a very interesting element. With the amount of fun factor I had and the fact that everybody at the table really enjoyed it, I have to give this probably about an 8 out of 10. I have to give this at least a medium beard rating. This game is absolutely worth your time. You should go take a look at it on Kickstarter. If you like good set collection games with an element of cooperation, right? It's not too many of them that have that. And I like the twist in that. If you want to have a common denominator, you all have to take out this guy and stop him from winning by chaining. But at the same time, you're also concerned with each other, that constant tension that's there. I think you may like this. So thank you so much again for watching the Dice Odyssey videos. I'm Kaz, and hey, you can follow us on Twitter. You can like us on Facebook. Please like and subscribe, because the more times you subscribe, the more we can do these kind of videos, right? And also, let me know what kind of set collection game is one of your favorites. Have you heard of this game at all? Is this game piquing your interest at all? Anyway, thank you so much. You have a blessed day, and game away.